Scaling a business takes the right expertise at the right time. Upwork helps growing teams quickly bring in specialized freelancers, so you can move faster and take the business to the next level. One of the biggest growth hacks is realizing you don't have to do it all yourself. Upwork makes it easy to bring in the right freelancer when you need them, so you can stay focused on what you do best. Upwork is a one-stop platform to find, hire, and pay expert freelancers across web and software development, data and analytics, marketing, business operations, and more. With Business Plus, you can access the top 1% of talent on Upwork. And with AI-powered shortlisting, you'll get matched to the right freelancer in under 6 hours. No endless searching required. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That is Upwork.com to connect with top talent ready to help your business grow. That's UPWORK.com. Upwork.com.
There's never been a better time to get outside and experience the benefits of nature. Discover nearby trails and explore the outdoors with All Trails. Download the free app today and find your outside.
Quick question. When was the last time a display ad changed your mind? Now think about the last time a friend told you about something they loved. Different feeling, right? That's how podcast advertising works. A host who's built real trust with their audience talks about your brand in their own words, in their own voice. It doesn't interrupt the experience. It's part of it. With Acast, you can access the world's largest podcast marketplace. Choose the right shows, the right audiences, the right format. Then watch the data tell you it worked. You're not buying impressions. You're buying influence. Learn more by visiting acast.com/advertise.
Magical biology you've just invented there, Michelle.
Eavesdroppin.
Oh, yeah, here we are again. You, Michelle, me, Geordie. Oh, I've even inadvertently introduced ourselves.
I think that's the quickest we've ever jumped off the starting blocks to introduce ourselves.
Bang, bang, here we go.
Here we go.
Dive right in.
It's on. Well, you've introduced yourself.
Yes.
You're Geordie.
I am Geordie, that's correct.
I am Michelle.
That is also correct. Yes, you are Michelle, the smaller
Present
one.
and correct.
I'm the taller one.
Yes, and you're listening to Eavesdroppin Comedy Podcast, which makes you an eavesdropper. Lucky you.
That's you. That's
Yes.
you. Congratulate yourself. Michelle gave you a pat on the back a couple of weeks ago. How kind is that?
It makes it sound really, really terrible. Very condescending. Oh, lucky you.
Here's a little pat on the back for you.
Pat on the back. We are so thrilled to have our...
We are actually really happy about,
Yes,
you
we're
listening.
thrilled to have listeners.
Yeah. I'm thrilled to have listeners, absolutely. Listen, one of the listeners just got in touch, actually, Michelle, to say she's still listening, even though she's been rather quiet of late. It's Shari.
Oh, hi, Shari.
Shari, who has contributed so many wonderful things in the past. And I've met Shari. She came to London last year after a visit to Dublin to see a fabulous festival that's curated by, what's his name with the big eyes?
Cillian Murphy.
That's it, yes.
That guy. Peaky Blinder.
Cillian Murphy, how could I forget? The Peaky Blinder. She's talking about it going again this year. It's just been announced. It's called Sounds from a Safe Harbour. I believe it's down in Cork or somewhere like that.
Right, okay.
Not sure. That's Cork, by the way. I was trying to say it in a Cork
I didn't know
accent,
what
but
you were
didn't do
saying.
too well.
Kirk.
No.
Kirk.
Cork. Shari said she was just listening and laughing and had to send me a voice note to say that your story about the nature poo from 2 weeks ago went down rather well for her.
Oh, my God.
And she has often also wondered where all the poo comes from. She said, and I quote, "It's absolutely fascinating how much poo we carry around."
It is, and it does take me back to a recent time at the doctor's where I went in with a tummy pain. I said, I don't know what's going on. I'm really a bit worried. And he did some diagnostics, a little ultrasound, and just said, in his best English, instead of in German, he said, I do not know how to say this, but you're actually full of shit. I thought...
I could have told you that.
I think a few people could have mentioned that. So it was a bit like, oh, okay, that's not good.
Time to take a laxative.
Yes, but there were times where I did think, does it? Is it particles, poo particulae inside?
Stop.
Where once it hits air, it suddenly forms into solid matter.
Poo?
It's absolutely not scientific. It's
What?
absolutely not
That's-
true.
Magical biology you've just invented there, Michelle.
Well, it was a hope rather than magical biology. It was a hope. But no, it's all in there.
Listen, I'm concerned. I'm concerned for the Americans when we talk about poo because we know they don't like it. Although we do have an American listener that we absolutely know listens. Shout out McCracken Poston Jr.
Oh, McCracken. Well, what a guy.
What a guy. I tell you what, I think both Michelle and I, just a little heads up, by the way, Michelle and I met McCracken over the interwebs and had a chat with him. And that exclusive chat, of which we will maybe show a little of later on for free. We'll put a little bit coming up in the next couple of weeks. I think, were a little starry-eyed, weren't we, Michelle?
We didn't know what to expect from McCracken. First of all,
He's gorgeous. He looks like Sam Neill, the actor.
he does look like Sam Neill.
Very
He is very
handsome.
handsome. He's got such a smiley face and a wonderful energy.
I felt like I'd known him for years.
Really. And I did think if I murdered someone, I want McCracken on my side.
I would want McCracken always on my side, absolutely.
Because what a gem. Absolute gorgeous man. We just had a wonderful hour chatting with him about one of our cases. We had, I don't know if y'all, he's from the south.
He's from the south.
Don't know if y'all remember, we did 2 of McCracken's cases. We are fans. We are McCracken fans.
And friends. He also said that we're friends now, and I'm hanging on to that. McCracken, there's a room here in southwest London whenever you come to this side of the planet.
And if you find yourself in the Swiss Alps, do get in touch.
Exactly. If you need someone to walk you around London sites, I'm here. I'm here for it.
But speaking of London sites, obviously,
Yeah.
I was in London just
You
recently.
were.
Yes, we were together.
London and the South Coast, weren't we?
We were. We went down to the seaside.
Yeah, and we went to a great gig on Sunday at the Barbican. What's her name again?
Aldous Harding. I'm still flying high from
Me too.
from her. She was so mesmerizing. On reflection, I think that is one of the best gigs I've ever been to in my entire life.
Wow.
The sound, her performance, everything was just perfection for me. And I'm a fan, so I went in already knowing all the songs, and so that also helps. But I just really loved it. And I said to my partner, oh, I'd love to go and see her again. And then I thought, I don't know if it'll be as magical not at the Barbican, because I'm short and I was sitting down. I could see everything, and that's really unusual for me at a gig to be able to see.
But it was hard to focus on I'd like to see facial expressions, and we were quite far from the front, weren't we?
We were. It was really wonderful, and I would absolutely recommend this New Zealand artist. She's absolutely fantastic. I have another burning question for you.
Burning hot. Go on then, Michelle. Ask me.
How's your eyebrow?
What about my eyebrow?
Your eyebrow. How's your eyebrow?
Oh, my eyebrow.
How's your eyebrow?
Eyebrow. I lost it, then I found it again. Michelle and I went shopping in TK Maxx, which is like they call it TJ Maxx. That's for you, McCracken, in America. It's okay. I haven't worn it since. Haven't needed to. I've got dark curtains in my room. I forgot to take it, though, didn't I, down to our Airbnb in the South Coast.
I'm writing that review right now.
We were disappointed with the accommodation. It wasn't as advertised.
Yes, the comms were false advertising.
But the view from the front, I mean, it was right on Hastings Seafront, St Leonard's Seafront. It was gorgeous to see the beach every morning and see the sunset. Yeah.
The view was nice. I did say in the review, because I'm quite harsh.
Little bitch.
I did say the positives. I started with the positives. I said...
Yeah, you made a shit sandwich, did you?
I did. Well, no, because there was only 2 positives. So I started with both. I said the location and the view were good.
Yeah.
But that's it.
The smelly hallway was an issue. We were warned about that.
Yes, the smelly hallway. Oh, gosh. It was all terrible.
It wasn't terrible. We had comfortable sleeps, didn't we?
Well, the beds were not bad, yes.
Yeah.
Circling back to all things true crime.
Yes.
True crime.
Yeah.
I wanted to just tell you about a little thing that happened recently here in Sweden.
Uh-oh. They're quite monstrous in Sweden, aren't they? Skårekannibalen.
Skårekannibalen, yes, I know. We made that story popular. We internationalized the Skårekannibalen.
Did we?
We did. No one knew about it till this little podcast.
Here's a pat on the back for us then.
Yes, I know. I just wish we would
Congrats.
get some kind of financial payoff for that. So Andreas and I are trying to do a little bit of something in our wild garden here. It's wild. I love it, but we do need to like tidy it up.
Have you dug up a body?
No, although we did dig up Iggy, which was the dog of the previous owner.
Oh, no.
I know, poor little Iggy. I think we found some bits.
Oh, God.
I know, darling little Iggy. But we need some stones, like actual kind of pavers to, build some sections. Andreas' sister and he decided they were going to go and get these stones. She'd found some on the Swedish equivalent of, I guess, Craigslist.
Right.
It's called Blocket here.
Okay, not Sven's List.
Sven's List, no. Well, I didn't go. I stayed behind. Andreas and his sister went. They said the chap was absolutely lovely. Bit strange. He went to the neighbour's house to get the stones.
Out of their garden.
Yeah, well,
Picked up
they
their
were on
pavers.
some pallets. He said, oh, no. Whatever the name was, Johannes. He knows I'm selling them for him. Bit strange.
Okay.
Then he was telling them about how, he's had a few scrapes with the law. But he was a lovely chap, very nice. Money was exchanged, stones. And I will say it was something like 20 tons of stones loaded onto the back of this truck. Bye-bye, off you go. Then his sister decided to do a little Google. I wonder what a little bit of a scrape with the law means. Well, this guy was in jail because...
The neighbour?
No, the guy...
The actual guy?
The actual guy who had sold the stones, whether they were his stones to sell or not. Turns out he'd been in jail for throwing kerosene on his girlfriend, setting her alight and beating her to a pulp.
Oh, my God.
You do not know who you were buying from. And this goes back to a story that you did where that guy was selling, in a jokey style, whips and chains and things to hold prisoner somebody.
Good for holding your girlfriend in
captivity.
In a storage container.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Amazon killer. Yeah, that's terrible. I'm shocked.
It was a little bit shocking because he was lovely. Just said, I'd have had a few scrapes with the law.
Oh, my God.
He needed McCracken.
No, McCracken, don't go there because that man's mean to women.
He is mean to women.
Although he was nice to your sister-in-law, so...
He was nice
Go
to
figure.
everybody.
But he's out, so she didn't die, the girlfriend, then?
No, I think she's probably just hideously burned.
Oh, that's horrific. Life-changing injuries.
Horrific.
And a great deal of pain and trauma.
Yep, but apparently he was lovely. Gave us 3 stones for free.
Oh.
So, what a guy.
Murder, murder.
It's true and it's crime.
It's crime time.
Murder, murder.
Crime time.
Going back to all things true crime.
Yeah.
And McCracken, our favourite McCracken, he did talk us through his name because...
We took the piss and I was embarrassed.
We did take the piss. We did take the piss
when
out
I
of
met
McCracken's
him.
name.
Yeah. Because we talk about all sorts of people on this podcast. We never dream that they're going to get in touch and then meet them.
Well, I will say, when McCracken's message popped up in my inbox on Instagram, I thought, oh my God, what the hell? He's going to tell us to cease and desist. He doesn't like that we've talked about his cases. I've got something wrong. The research was bad.
Because that has happened before.
Oh, it has happened before. But no, McCracken was absolutely the loveliest, and I am a fan. I'm a
Yes.
McCracken fan, and I did get his name wrong, actually. I called him McCracken Poston. It's McCracken Poston.
Yeah.
Poston. And he did tell us that people do call him Ken, but I cannot bring myself to call you Ken.
No, he's McCracken all day long. All day and all night.
All day and all night, you're McCracken. As I said, I'm a McCracken fan. So when we were speaking with McCracken, and if you're a Patreon member and you've signed up and popped a coin in our slot, you will be able to hear McCracken's interview this month. We're going to do an exclusive for our Patreon members this month, and then we will give everybody else in the world the joy of McCracken afterwards. So get in there first. Get in there first.
Stick around for a while and then we will release the McCracken episode or bits of it in amongst these free-to-air episodes. But in the meantime, if you'd like to hear a fascinating conversation, and if you enjoyed the case that Michelle told us earlier in the year about Alvin Ridley, the Zenith man later diagnosed in life autistic, who was accused of the kidnap and murder of his beloved wife of 30 years.
It's a fascinating story, and you must hear McCracken tell it, because what a storyteller.
You know what? I was near to tears several times in that conversation. The love and the friendship that came out of this case and the sort of person that McCracken is. And Alvin, he illustrated Alvin so beautifully in our conversation. You really get to know the man through this story. So please, even if you just sign up for a month, I mean, obviously we'll take your money, but just to hear this, it's so special.
It is very special. But as I said, I'm a McCracken fan. First of all, I did the McCracken case on the Tri-State Crematory last year. And if you don't remember, go back. A guy called Brent Marsh, he simply got overwhelmed with his crematorium business and it all went south. Literally. So please go back and listen to that. If you haven't listened to the Alvin Ridley Zenith Man episode from earlier this year, go and have a listen to that. But during our conversation with McCracken, well, not only did he tell us about another case he's worked on, so that's what you got today. A McCracken trifecta.
The 3 magic cases of McCracken Poston Jr.
Yes.
And we've got the 3rd.
We
wouldn't have known about it had we not spoken to the man himself.
No, we wouldn't have. So I'm going to just jump right in. And I will say, spoiler alert, McCracken, sorry, he didn't win this one. He didn't win this case.
Oh, no. Sorry about it.
Sorry, McCracken. But I actually don't think it was a winnable case. But man, what a wild ride. We're going back to the South for this one. McCracken, apologies for my terrible accent.
Yeah, apologies needed.
Yeah. So, Byron Anthony Looper. That's where we're going. He was born on September 15, 1964 in Putnam County in Tennessee. And from pretty early on, people who knew him apparently said this guy, he was massively ambitious and he always wanted to be in politics. He went to the US Military Academy at West Point and he was there for 3 years, but he somehow got, I don't know, some kind of knee injury. So he received an honourable discharge and he left his military training. And after that, he moved to Georgia. And that's where McCracken lives, in Georgia.
Yeah.
And in 1987, while he was still in his early 20s, Byron ran as a Democrat for a seat in the Georgia House of Representatives. And he actually lost that race. But he did stay in politics.
Didn't McCracken also start out in politics as well?
No, I believe McCracken was always a lawyer.
But then he shifted over to politics for a bit.
He popped it on hold for a bit.
He did quite well.
Did well, but I think ultimately as you'll hear, yes, locally
Yes.
did well, went for a bigger seat.
Congress style in Washington, yeah. But we won't tell any more about that. You'll have to go over to the Patreon.
Because he told us all about it. Oh my God, we're fangirling McCracken. It's kind of embarrassing. This is all about McCracken. The McCracken Poston Joy Ep.
Trilogy.
So like I said, Byron, he lost that Democrat seat race that he went for. But he stayed in politics and he actually went to work as a legislative aide for his uncle, Max Looper, who also was a Democrat. Years later, side note, there would be claims that Max Looper had ties to the KKK, aka Ku Klux Klan. Ku Klux Klan.
Wow, okay.
Try to say that.
There's a lot of K's in that sentence.
Say Ku Klux Klan, quick.
Ku Klux Klan.
Ku
Klux Klan.
The Ku Klux. Is it Ku Klux Klan or Ku Klux Klan?
Ku Klux. I don't know, actually. I've said Ku, and I don't think that's right.
I think it's a Ku Klux Klan.
Ku Klux Klan. That's it. Do you know what? The whole thing's fucked anyway.
Oh, shit.
I hate those 3 Ks, and I hate the words And I hate that we've just given so much
airtime,
attention to it. Yes. But carry on. I'm sure it's pertinent to the story.
Well, it's not. It's just I put it in there because it hasn't been confirmed or denied.
Oh, okay. So we're just throwing out accusations willy-nilly, unfounded?
No, it's pretty well documented that there were claims. I mean, you don't throw those sorts of claims around. But anyway, who knows?
Right.
We don't know.
We just have.
Yes, we have.
We might need a lawyer. McCracken,
get in. McCracken's on our side, hopefully.
I hope so.
I'm just saying it's not been confirmed nor denied, but there were claims, not by me.
Right, good.
There we go. So anyway, Byron Looper, back to Byron. He bounced around for a while working at different jobs, and then he spent some time in Puerto Rico before eventually moving back to Tennessee in the early 1990s. And this is kind of where things start to go a bit sideways because he decided he would reinvent himself politically. And he went from being a Democrat, which is left-leaning, to being hard conservative Republican.
So he swung.
Badly. He went from left to hard right. And pretty soon people around Putnam County, which is where he was trying to establish himself politically, well, the kind of general populace started hearing about this loud, aggressive guy who thought Tennessee politics was controlled by what he constantly called the good old boy network. And he genuinely believed that local Democrats, who he was previously a Democrat, he believed they were conspiring against him and trying to control every aspect of public life. He's a little bit conspiracy theory guy. He's a little bit magical thinking guy. Just putting that on the table there. In 1994, he ran for the Tennessee State House and he lost again. And at this point, I think that most people would probably take that as a sign to just give it up.
Yeah.
But not Byron Looper.
He wasn't taking it.
Nope. He doubled down. And in 1996, he legally changed his middle name from Anthony to Low Tax. And to be clear, I'm not saying it was a little nickname. He legally actually changed his middle name to Low Tax. And you know what? This triggered a memory, Geordie. Did we know somebody who called their son Trouble as their middle name? Or was that just a urban legend?
I do not know.
Or somebody had thought about doing it?
No, that's terrible. No.
My middle name's Trouble. Trouble's his middle name.
Trouble's his middle name. No, Low Tax. Let's just straighten this out for the listeners, because when I first heard McCracken tell us this, I was confused as well until he spelt it out. LOW gap space TAX. Not Low-Tax like some sort of weird Greek name. It is Low Tax, the two words.
Exactly. And I'll get in a moment to exactly why he did this. But I just want to say, obviously people at the time thought this was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask McCracken, if you're listening, McCracken, let me know the answer. Did he have to actually legally change his name? Because he changed his name to Low Tax.
Yeah.
So he could put it on all of his campaign.
Right. And he wouldn't be accused of lying.
Well, it was just that
kind of false
it's a
advertising.
gimmick.
Yeah, gimmicky. Yeah.
On all of the campaign advertising, surely he could have just put that in as a slogan, or is that not allowed?
I don't know.
That same year, Byron Low Tax Looper, and I will say at this point, you've got to be thinking it's kind of Byron Low Tax Loopy.
Right.
At this point,
Okay.
not Looper.
He gets a new nickname, one he hasn't chosen.
Well, he ran what was technically a non-partisan position of the Putnam County Tax Assessor, which is why if he's going for this tax assessor job, he's Byron Low Tax. And like it says on the tin, he campaigned hard for lower taxes, and he accused the incumbent of giving tax assessments to friends that were like on the dodge. And obviously these accusations were never proven and they were kind of considered to be made up, but he was out there spreading this nonsense. To be fair, taxes had increased under the previous administration, and Low Tax Looper managed to tap into that public frustration at the time. He went from being a two-time political loser to actually narrowly winning that election by around 1,000 votes.
Wow.
And he became the first Republican elected official in Putnam County in more than a century.
So they're quite a lefty state or town or constituency or whatever you call it.
I guess constituency. However, Geordie,
Yes.
once he got into office, things quickly spiraled. And by that, I mean they went in a one-way direction down the dunny.
Uh-oh.
So apparently he rarely bothered showing up for work.
Oh.
Employees in his office said he would just disappear for days at a time.
Mm-hmm.
He would fire staff members constantly and often without explanation, which led to those former employees later suing him, claiming that he was targeting people connected to the Democrats or who showed any loyalty to his predecessor.
Right.
So he was kind of like, I think, on a bit of a power trip. You're out.
Sounds like somebody else I know in American politics.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Obviously, Byron Low Tax denied all of that stuff. And he, in fact, insisted that he was the victim of political persecution because he was a Republican in a heavily Democratic area. But then he also apparently started flooding the local newspapers with bizarre pat on the back, self-congratulatory press releases.
How great am I style.
Exactly. And he did it all through the office.
Through the official networks.
Exactly.
This is to announce that Byron Low Tax Looper is a very fantastic person all round. Signed, Byron Looper.
Byron Looper is great. Signed Byron Looper. Byron Low Tax. I actually had a look. I couldn't find any of those. And I don't know what that would look like more than what we just said.
Yeah.
But the Cookeville Herald Citizen newspaper lapped this up and covered him relentlessly.
What, as a joke?
Well, I just think it was like there was always some new controversy coming up with this guy.
So he was the gift that kept giving.
Yes, he was media gold because he was publicly insulting county officials. He was accusing commissioners of corruption. He was claiming shady political enemies were out to destroy him.
This guy has a future in politics, honestly, in America, because look at the president.
He was paving the way. He was showing Trump how to do it. And look, at one point, he even had county employees photocopy more than 5,000 pages of commission documents because he said he was investigating corruption inside the good old boy network. He then sued to release certain public records, only to discover that those public records were public anyway. So it would have been good to check that first.
Because they're called public records. Clues in the title, Byron.
I think he's a little bit, it's not a nice thing to say, but not all the tools are in the tool shed.
Some have been left out in the rain.
They're rusty, mate. They're rusting. But people in Putnam County, they began seeing this guy less as a tax reformer and more as like a chaos grenade because there were also allegations that he was offering reduced tax assessments to businesses in exchange for campaign donations. I don't think that's legal, although apparently nobody took him up on it. I think they all were just giving him a wide berth. Then there was a lawsuit from a former girlfriend. She sued him for fraud and child support, and she alleged that he forced her into sex acts that she was not
Up for.
Yes.
She didn't consent to.
Consent. There were, yes, non-consensual sex acts. And apparently she says he illegally transferred ownership of her house into his name.
How can you do that?
I don't know.
With a big old photocopier and a bunch of government employees, I suppose.
Yeah, or maybe he had one of those invisible pens and who knows what he did. I think this guy is on the edge.
Right.
And then when reporters asked him about the lawsuit, because these papers are loving anything to do with Byron Low Tax,
Yeah.
he apparently responded with this, and I quote, this is about the girlfriend. She left me with heart palpitations, a small box of memorabilia, and a red G-string.
What?
What a guy.
Thank you, Byron.
What a guy.
Gee whiz.
So by March 1988, things had escalated badly enough for him that he was indicted on 14 counts from all different areas of his life, including official misconduct, theft of services, official oppression, and obviously all the stuff with the girlfriend. But he insisted it was all political revenge from Democrats who were out to get him. At the same time all of this was happening, he decided, I'm going to run for higher office. Actually, 2 offices. So So in 1998, Byron Low Tax entered both the Republican primary for Tennessee's 6th Congressional District and the Republican primary for the Tennessee State Senate. To English people and Australians,
Other people.
it's all a bit confusing, but Americans probably understand what all that means. He lost the congressional race badly, finishing last in a field of only 4 candidates. But in the state Senate race, he was the only Republican on the ballot. So by default, he automatically became the nominee. And that set him up against the Democratic incumbent, Tommy Burks. Tommy Burks could not, by all accounts, have been more different to Byron Low Tax. Tommy Burks was a farmer from Monterey in Tennessee, and he and his wife Charlotte ran a hog and tobacco farm. And Tommy was a proper old school Southern politician. People just loved him. He served 8 years in the Tennessee House and 20 years in the state Senate. So, 28 years of political service. And reportedly, unlike Byron, he never missed a single day of work.
Good on him.
Ever. People I read had described him as honest and humble and hardworking. He wore gumboots.
Or Wellingtons.
Wellies in the... he wore those more often than he had a suit on.
What do you call them in America? Galoshes?
Galoshes? Rubber boots? I don't know what you would call them. But one woman said of him, you'd see him after slopping hogs. He was one of us. So it gives you a measure of this guy.
People like to relate to their political champions.
Of course, they want to know that they are a voice of the people. And politically, he was conservative, even though he was a Democrat. I do kind of have a bit of a problem with some of the things he got behind, like he opposed abortion, but he also was opposed to gambling, which I think there is some merit in that. And he was behind victims' rights, which I support. But he did also sponsor a controversial bill requiring teachers to stop teaching evolution as fact. It failed. But in his district, those views were really popular and people felt like Tommy Burks represented them. And because of that, no one thought Byron Low Tax Looper had a chance of winning. And so the election race was expected to be pretty uneventful. The only thing people really knew about Byron was his ridiculous middle name change of Low Tax.
Doris, Cloris, Maureen, Doreen, Leslie, Wesley, Tracy, and Stacey, Daniel,
Bill.
Eavesdroppin!
We all belong outside. We're drawn to nature, whether it's the recorded sounds of the ocean we doze off to, or the succulents that adorn our homes. Nature makes all of our lives, well, better. Despite all this, we often go about our busy lives removed from it. But the outdoors is closer than we realize. With All Trails, you can discover trails nearby and explore confidently. With offline maps and on-trail navigation, download the free app today and make the most of your summer with All Trails.
Sometimes life will get you stressed out. Lucky you can always count on text now. Free talk, free text, free 5G, and they'll never shut you off. 'Cause like I said, it's free. Text now's got your back. Nationwide, no long-term contracts. But oh, they're nervous about losing service. Text now's got your back, that's their sense of purpose. No matter what comes next, you've got free talk and text with the Text Now app. Download it today. Wireless plans require the purchase of a SIM card. Visit textnow.com for terms and conditions.
And then, October 19, 1998, it all went wrong. That morning, Tommy Burks was on his farm in Cumberland County preparing for a school group to visit his pumpkin patch.
Sounds like a lot of fun. You might find some dollies under there.
Oh.
Do you remember those?
No.
Cabbage Patch Kids, that's what they were, not Pumpkin Patch.
Cabbage Patch.
Yes, sorry, yes. You go in, you root around your veggie patch, and you find a baby.
I know.
A little rag doll with a kind of weird pinched face.
A weird, disgusting
name.
pinched face and a name on them. And of course, The original ones were what everybody wanted, but we couldn't afford them when we were kids.
No, had to get the copy.
Mum got us a copy and it was just a little bit wrong. It was kind that Jen tried to get it for us.
At least one to share between 3.
Yes. But it also shows that he's doing things for the community, you know.
Yeah, with his pumpkin patch.
Yeah, kids are allowed to come on his farm and go to the pumpkin patch.
Aw.
Now, one of his farm hands, a guy called Wesley Rex, he was nearby working on the farm when he saw a black car driving slowly around the property multiple times.
That's worrying, isn't it?
Well, what's even worse is the driver was wearing sunglasses and black gloves.
It sounds like a man in black, quite literally.
It does.
It sounds a bit like some sort of shady deal going on or something. Yeah, it's definitely something that piqued this guy's interest, made him think this ain't right.
Well, he later said, yeah, the car looks suspicious. And at one point after the pumpkin patch visit, Tommy Burks was sitting inside his pickup truck, which was parked on a gravel road near the farm. And then Wesley Rex heard what he described as a single pop.
Oh.
And then he saw that same black car speed away. Now, when Rex got closer to the truck, Tommy Burks was dead inside.
No.
Yeah, he'd been shot in the head. His body was slumped forward with his head resting on the steering wheel and the truck engine was still running.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And of course, news of his death spread like wildfire through Tennessee because he was a genuinely beloved guy in the area. And pretty soon, investigators from Cumberland County launched a homicide investigation. But initially, they were stumped because they were struggling with motive. To all intents and purposes, Tommy had no enemies. But then Wesley Rex, the farmhand, he was watching telly and he saw something and had a what the fuck moment. That's my words.
Yes.
He saw a news segment that ran a picture of Byron Low Tax Looper as part of the election coverage. And Wesley was like, that's the guy who was driving that black car. So he informed the authorities and they went looking for Byron. But Byron was gone.
Where was he?
He just disappeared.
Oh.
4 days went by. No one could find that guy. And politicians, reporters, police, everyone was asking the same thing. If this guy had nothing to do with the murder. Why did I just say murder?
Murder? Because that's how you say it, Michelle.
Murder. If Byron had nothing to do with this murder, why the hell was he nowhere to be found? During those 4 days, it turns out that Byron had gone to Hot Springs, Arkansas. If there are really hot springs there, I would be there in a heartbeat. I love a hot spring.
You fancy a hot spring right now?
I love a hot spring. I would love a hot spring right now.
What about those really hot springs where people boil to death and their dogs and things?
We did a story on that where where the dog jumped in thinking it was a lake, a nice cool lake, and the owner ran in after him and they both boiled to death.
Yeah.
Side note, I'll try and pop that episode in the Patreon if you want to hear some grisly details. But anyway, he went to Hot Springs, Arkansas, to visit an old school friend called Joe Bond, who was a Marine recruiter. I don't know why that's important.
It is what it is, yeah. It's the truth.
It's the truth.
We hope.
Get in touch, McCracken, if I've got all my details wrong. Joe would actually later become one of the key witnesses in this whole case. Byron had reconnected with Joe Bond earlier that year and apparently had spent a long time, months, talking to him about guns and ammunition.
Oh, really?
And lots of questions about all of that kind of gun-related stuff. And then Joe later testified that Byron would constantly talk about how Tennessee law would remove dead candidates from election ballots.
Oh, no.
Yes. And according to Joe, Byron told him that the surest way to win an election was simply to kill your opponent.
The lengths that people will go to. This is outrageous.
Oh, it's fucked. And at first, Joe was like, yeah, mate. Yep. Just thought it was all a joke. But then Byron, allegedly, rocked up at Joe's house after Tommy Burks was murdered and said to Joe, and I quote, "I did it, man. I did it."
Oh, God.
And in another version of that confession, Joe said, Byron said, quote, "I popped a cap in that dude."
Oh, my God. Of course he had to use that language.
I mean, is he a rapper? What the fuck? So he also said Byron talked about needing to change the tyres on his car and hide his car.
Right. Because he was seen.
He was the dude in the black car, all in black.
Yep.
So, meanwhile, back in Tennessee, investigators obviously were looking for Low Tax Looper, and even his attorney, Lionel Barrett, not at McCracken yet, admitted, I've spoken with Low Tax, but Lionel wouldn't say where he was and agreed that, yeah, actually, the fact that he's disappeared is a bit weird. And to quote him, he said, certainly raised legitimate questions.
And this is his attorney.
Yep. Even his attorney can't get behind
His
that
attorney.
kind of behaviour. Attorney.
Attorney.
I didn't say attorney.
Okay, we'll see.
October 23, 4 days after the murder, Byron suddenly reappeared at his home in Cookeville, Tennessee. Police had been staking out the property hoping he would come back.
He must have known that was going to happen.
Yeah. And look, he came back. They arrested him. And as he was being arrested, apparently Byron calmly turned around and was like, you want some soft drinks, lads? Basically offering them sodas, which everyone found that behaviour quite weird. They were like,
Yeah. What is it, a party?
he's murdered someone. He's been on the run for 4 days. He's come back home. He's arrested. And now he's like, can I get you some drinks, boys? Very strange. And he was charged with first-degree murder. And obviously now Tennessee had a political assassination case on their hands, because that's essentially what this is.
Absolutely. I hear that.
And the hearings started getting national press because the whole thing sounded crazy. Because you've got this politician who legally changed his middle name to Low Tax, who'd been indicted while serving as a tax assessor, being sued by a former girlfriend. He's constantly accusing people of conspiracies. And now, even though he's been arrested, he is still the front runner in the Senate race.
That's incredible, isn't it?
Because his opponent is dead and he's accused of killing him.
Yes.
Can't make this shit up.
But I wonder if all this laying down of the conspiracy narrative was part of the plan.
Who knows?
To destabilize, a little bit like what we see nowadays in this age of social media and politics and fake news, false news, misinformation, disinformation. I wonder if that was part of the plan or if it just conveniently came together.
Who knows?
Because an element of doubt, saying conspiracy.
Yeah, but this guy clearly had planned this.
Yeah, of course. But if he cries conspiracy, then some people will go, oh, hang on.
Well, people believe anything, don't they? as we know.
Did I get that right?
I don't know what you're saying.
Full of shit.
It went to a preliminary hearing, and Joe Bond, the Marine guy, he was called up as a witness. Defense didn't even know he was going to testify.
Oh.
He told everybody that Byron had confessed, yeah. And Joe actually said he struggled about going to the police because
His friend.
it was his mate. And he said he spent days deliberating about what to do and then went to the lawyer to say, go and contact the police on my behalf. He obviously told them about what Byron had said to him about, if you want to win a political race, kill your opponent.
Right.
And that's when District Attorney Bill Gibson told jurors, and this is a quote, Byron Looper is a man obsessed with the burning desire for power and public office. And then he said this line that ended up everywhere in the media. Byron Looper had a plan to resolve this election with a bullet instead of a ballot.
Oh, I like what you did there.
I know. People loved that. That was a
Yeah.
hook in all the newspapers. Meanwhile, Tennessee politics was in a right mess because there was this bizarre legal issue that no one had thought about before because of that obscure law, that Tennessee law saying that if a candidate died within 30 days of an election, their name had to be removed from the ballot and couldn't be replaced. Even election officials didn't know that this law existed until Tommy Burks was murdered.
Right.
So suddenly the only printed name left on the ballot was Byron Low Tax Looper
Yeah.
because they had to take Tommy's name off. And people obviously panicked because they were like, this guy might actually win this election from jail.
Oh.
Simply because his name's the only name on there.
Yeah.
We all belong outside. We're drawn to nature, whether it's the recorded sounds of the ocean we doze off to, or the succulents that adorn our homes. Nature makes all of our lives, well, better. Despite all this, we often go about our busy lives removed from it. But the outdoors is closer than we realize. With All Trails, you can discover trails nearby and explore confidently. With offline maps and on-trail navigation, download the free app today and make the most of your summer with All Trails.
While every other channel is fighting for your customers' attention, podcasts are where they've already given it. No one accidentally listens to a podcast for 45 minutes. They choose to be here. They trust the voice in their ears, and when that voice talks about your brand, it doesn't sound like advertising. It sounds like a recommendation from a friend. Acast gives you that trust at scale. Digital precision, host-read authenticity, and performance data that proves it worked. Don't fight for attention. Buy it with Acast. Learn more by visiting acast.com/advertise.
And that's when Charlotte Burks stepped in. She is the wife of Tommy Burks.
Right.
Now, Charlotte didn't automatically inherit the seat of her dead husband, and there was no rule saying that she would become senator because her husband died. She actually had to run, but she was allowed to, it turns out. So she launched what was called a write-in campaign, where people had to write in and say that they were voting for her. She was doing all of this while still grieving her husband's murder.
Of course. I mean, it's hard enough to arrange a funeral in those weeks, months, etc. after a loved one passes away, let alone an assassination, and you're grieving and then you go hard on this. Well, that's a woman spurned, by this act of violence against her beloved husband.
Well, she had to put everything to one side and just focus on this guy cannot get in. And she had to do it for the good of the people as well. Everybody rallied round her, and local Republicans even crossed party lines to help her because even they were like, we cannot get behind Low Tax Looper here. Right. One local mayor even donated his own salary to support her campaign. Oh. And in November 1998, Charlotte Burks overwhelmingly defeated Low Tax Looper.
Wonderful.
The man who charged with killing her husband. She got 97% of the votes.
Wow.
Compared to Byron, who ran his campaign from jail after his October 23 arrest. And all I can say here is, Geordie, who the hell were the 3%?
Who voted for him?
3% who voted for him.
Friends and family?
Shame on you, whoever you were. I think that's outrageous. By the time the murder trial finally started in 2000, Byron Low Tax Looper, who everyone knew was a bit tricksy, he'd already gone through 6 attorneys because lawyers either got fired, they quit, or they just couldn't continue representing him. And one attorney even filed sealed documents explaining that ethical issues prevented him from staying on Byron's case.
Fair.
And that's when McCracken Poston.
Enter McCracken.
Yep, he becomes one of the central figures in this story.
Love that. Okay.
As we all know, McCracken is a Tennessee defense attorney. He eventually took over Low Tax Looper's defense alongside California lawyer Ron Cordova. And even McCracken later admitted publicly that Byron Low Tax Looper was an incredibly difficult client.
And he knows difficult clients.
Oh, he does. And at trial, apparently McCracken tried to humanize Byron a bit, or at least make him seem less like a calculating assassin and more just like a bit of a
troubled being.
Well, a political showman who was just obnoxious. And he said, quote, he had a bombastic campaign style, a way of offending anyone that was status quo, and he did it repeatedly. But then McCracken argued that being obnoxious doesn't make you a murderer. And he kept emphasizing, and this is a quote from McCracken, Mr. Looper's weapon has always been words. Nice quote. I hope that's right. The defense also argued that killing Tommy Burks made no sense strategically because Byron Looper understood that Charlotte Burks might actually run and that sympathy would go towards her, which is obviously 100% what happened because she had a landslide victory.
Easy enough to prove post-event, yeah.
Well, yes. And a side note, after Charlotte Burks won, she went on to serve in the Tennessee Senate for years. decades, and she remained widely respected, and one of the first bills that she sponsored repealed the election law that had nearly allowed Byron to win by technicality.
Good.
So, circling back to low tax.
So no more unnecessary deaths.
No. So during the trial itself, there was witness after witness who came to testify against Byron. You've got Wesley Rex, who identified him as the driver of the black car. Joe Bond testified about the confession. And then there were political consultants who testified that Byron was talking about murder as a campaign tactic.
What?
Long before Tommy died. And then there was an inmate. You know how you have prisoners who do roadworks and cleaning up and stuff? Yeah. They apparently found what investigators believed was the murder weapon.
Oh.
Although prosecutors could never definitively prove it belonged to Low Tax Looper. But the whole thing throughout this trial is that Byron Low Tax Looper apparently remained pretty emotionless. Even years later, during a prison interview with a Channel 5 news reporter called Phil Williams, he denied everything. And he did it really calmly and casually. And he was like, I didn't plead guilty because I'm not guilty. In 2000, the jury did convict Byron Low Tax Looper of first-degree murder, and he was sentenced to life in prison without parole.
Right.
But there's more.
Uh-oh.
Low Tax spent years insisting that he'd been framed by corrupt Tennessee politicians and repeatedly tried to appeal his conviction.
Here comes the conspiracy angle.
And throughout all of that, McCracken Poston, he stayed connected to that case and occasionally did speak publicly about it. And then in 2013, things got weird again, because by that point, Byron had been transferred from Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary to the Morgan County Correctional Complex after that prison had closed. According to prison reports, he got into an altercation after he was told he was being moved from a private cell back into the general prison population. And officials said he slapped a pregnant prison counselor hard enough to knock off her glasses.
Oh my goodness.
And guards had to restrain him during what they called a forcible cell extraction.
Gee whiz.
And less than 2 hours later, Byron Low Tax Looper was found dead in his prison cell.
Oh my gosh.
He was 48.
What happened?
Well, because it happened shortly after the confrontation with those guards, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation's Violent Crimes Response Team was brought in, because obviously they didn't think it was a routine prison death. But the autopsy later concluded that Byron died from heart disease linked to severe high blood pressure and hardened arteries. And also he had toxic levels of an antidepressant in his body. But the report also documented bruises and abrasions across his body, including marks consistent with restraints and shackles.
Yeah, shit. Okay.
And McCracken Poston later publicly described the death as suspicious.
Yeah, it sounds it to me. I'm with you, McCracken.
You know, even after all of this, he basically went to his death insisting that he was innocent, despite all the lawsuits, all the conspiracy theories, all the political performances, and all of this chaos he created. Basically, he's a political assassin with a stupid name who killed a good man for a seat in government that he didn't even get. And I say, what a waste.
That is a waste. Oh my gosh. Amazing. Thank you, Michelle. And that was courtesy of McCracken Poston Jr. himself.
Yes. Now, I would be really interested for McCracken to see if you have anything to add, or maybe there's some details I missed or got wrong. McCracken is still a lawyer. He's a busy guy. He doesn't have time just to be responding to this podcast.
Well, he does have time to sit down with us for a good couple of hours, though, and shoot the shit.
He does.
On camera, which is fun. And like I said, if you want to see all those things, you need to head over to Patreon.
Yes.
But yeah, he also mentioned that perhaps we should start our own podcast with him.
Yes, maybe we
could do that. Maybe a monthly check-in with McCracken to talk about some of the crimier aspects of the stories that we talk about. Get his take.
I know that this is like the I Heart McCracken episode.
It is.
He's also got a book out called Zenith Man, which we are going to pop that in our list of recs alongside all of our other eavesdroppers who are writing books, because it's absolutely fantastic. It gives a really great insight into the Alvin Ridley case. But I hope that you enjoyed this new McCracken case.
Absolutely. Well, I certainly did. I can't get enough.
It was a ride.
My husband walked in while I was editing the film, the Patreon episode, which is taken from a film. And he went, "Oh, look at you girls. Look at Michelle, moon eyes."
Oh, I was enthralled. He was a brilliant storyteller. So better than us. He was amazing.
Absolutely. And he does deserve his own podcast. McCracken, keep that GarageBand on your computer.
Yes.
Because we can think of ways to utilise that when you get time, of course. Because obviously he's out there fighting crime like a caped crusader.
I know. And like I said, I want McCracken on my side. McCracken for president. That's what I say.
He'd have a jolly good chance at this stage of the game as well, I think.
Really would. But anyway, I think that brings us to the end of this episode.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then Michelle said it. She's the boss this week. So it sounds like we're wrapping it up. That's our love-in with McCracken and all things crime done for this week. But of course, you know where to find your extras.
You do.
In the meantime, wherever you are,
whatever you do,
just keep eavesdropping. 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 Dropping. Eavesdropping. Dropping. Eavesdropping. Eavesdropping. Dropping. Dropping. Eavesdropping. Eavesdropping all day long. Eavesdropping. This is a song. Drop it like it's hot.
There's nothing like the American Express Platinum Card. Find out your welcome offer after you apply, which could be as high as 175,000 points. Learn more and find out your offer at americanexpress.com/explore-platinum. Terms apply.
Quick question. When was the last time a display ad changed your mind? Now think about the last time a friend told you about something they loved. Different feeling, right? That's how podcast advertising works. A host who's built real trust with their audience talks about your brand in their own words, in their own voice. It doesn't interrupt the experience. It's part of it. With Acast, you can access the world's largest podcast marketplace. Choose the right shows, the right audiences, the right format. Then watch the data tell you it worked. You're not buying impressions. You're buying influence. Learn more by visiting acast.com/advertise.